Welcome everyone to another edition of C2C. Our chiefs today, we've got Bill Robison, Executive Vice President from NICE inContact. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you. Glad to be here, Adam.
We also have Mr. Ray Hicken, Telarus alumnus, and also Vice President of Strategy and Business Development at NICE inContact.
Thanks, Adam. It's great to be with you today.
You know, it's great to have both guests here because when we talk about pioneers in cloud and cloud contact center, NICE inContact is it. In fact, the ticker symbol for inContact was SaaS, SaaS. And while that is no longer applicable because it's NICE, I think what it demonstrates is the legacy of the company and what you've done in pioneering. So I'm going to open up with my first question. I think a lot of partners want to know, and that is, what is the difference currently between the company NICE and NICE inContact?
Yeah, that's a great question. First of all, we were acquired by NICE almost exactly 4 years ago. I think it was right at the end of November 2016 when the transaction closed. It's been a great relationship, great partnership. For the most part, inContact has remained kind of a standalone entity. Now we do partner with NICE both for technology. We do a little bit of go-to-market together with NICE, specifically at the higher end of the market. But for all intents and purposes, your support, your customer service, all of that comes straight through NICE inContact. So for the most part, I would say we operate still much as a standalone entity.
Got it. So for an agent to keep straight in their minds, really what we're dealing with is a legacy inContact with all the goodies and IP from NICE incorporated into that, but we're not necessarily dealing with NICE when we're talking to a customer. We're really talking NICE inContact.
Absolutely. And we have purpose-built products with NICE now that are super tightly integrated. But specifically for partners, from a deal registration of opportunities, et cetera, that's all going to come straight through NICE inContact.
Great. All right. Very helpful. So let's talk about what's in the future. You know, I mentioned that NICE inContact, a pioneer in cloud contact center, but let's talk about what's around the curve that partners should be aware of.
Well, I think some of the big things that I think that we're talking about a lot more is the digital content and digital delivery. I mean, it's changing the way companies do business. And so one of the things that we're really focused on as a company is the growth of the digital products. So, you know, in a world when it used to be voice and you'd have maybe a chat, now you have, SMS, you have WhatsApp, you have Facebook Messenger. I mean, you can have up to 30 different channels and experience for the customer. And, COVID's even increased that need and quicker in the marketplace. And it's changed the way we're approaching it, and we're investing heavily in those digital channels. It's changing what we do, and it also leads to different partnerships and relationships that we need to enhance more and create better relationships with, the CRMs that are really important because of the analytics that come out of that. And when you take those digital channels and the analytics that come with CRMs, and we're meshing all that together, you get a pretty compelling story and helps our customers who are working with their customers in a different way. It's changed that experience for them, and we're trying to make that experience even more viable for them, to make that the opportunity to use our product to help better their customer service experience.
So explain that to me a little bit. I think most partners are familiar with the fact that you will integrate with a CRM. You know, this is the house CRM, the contact center software integrates with it. But you brought up some really interesting messaging platforms like WhatsApp. Like, how would that be applicable in an application?
Well, people are communicating in different ways, and even the millennial age group, they don't pick up a phone and make a phone call anymore. Even though people like to talk on the phone, they're going to get on an app and be able to communicate with that customer the way they choose to communicate. And that integration into the experience allows us as a company to be able to use those digital channels to be able to provide information to that customer about how they're experiencing, their customer base and what that customer is experiencing with our product, and we can give them information about what's happening throughout that whole conversation. It helps them to be more efficient. And a good example of that is it's helped, customers. For example, we recently helped a customer take improve their revenue or return on investment by 25%. And that was done by increasing by about 30% the activity in using these digital digital channels, and the analytics helped them to be able to do that. And that gave them a better experience for their customer, and that increased their revenue stream in a very significant way. So that's a big change for companies.
Got it. So tell me the takeaway for partners. What should they be changing in their motion?
Well, I think they need to be asking that question. How do you, when they talk to their customers, how are you as a company communicating with your customer base? And if they're using a contact center, some kind of a digital delivery product, how is it being used? And how effectively is it being used? And how are you integrating that into your customer experience? I think that's the questions I'd be asking more.
Great. Got it. So
Yeah,
go ahead, Bill.
I was just going to add to that a little bit. I mean, number one, Ray and I are a couple of gray hairs, so we still use voice. I do use digital, but you're starting to deal with more and more of born in digital generation. So we're seeing that come a lot, and I agree with everything Ray said. One of the other things that there's always pre-pandemic and in the pandemic, and hopefully there's post-pandemic. But one of the things that's coming back full circle is the remote worker. Obviously, we're all working from home. That's been part of our value prop. I've been here 8.5 years. That was part of our value prop 8.5 years ago. And it has really, really, really revved up here over the last 9 months.
Yeah.
Great.
Sure.
Well, and tell me this, with regard to the change because of the pandemic, are you seeing that an increase in enterprise interest as opposed to traditional BPO call center type places that are looking at making changes based on this application?
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that we did early days in the pandemic is, I don't know if you remember, we did a program called CX1 at Home, where it was really awesome because we were able to help out companies. And in turn, I think we built some great partnerships due to the CX1 at Home, but we would get you stood up with some parameters. It couldn't be the full stack or whatever, but we agreed in a matter of a few days to get customers that had to send all of their workers home. We agreed in something like a week or less to get you stood up on our platform so you could send your workers home. We did about just under 100 of those in a matter of a few months. And over half of those now have not only stayed on the platform, but have entered into longer term contracts with us. So hopefully that answers your question, but tremendous uptake.
That's great. I don't think many companies experience that kind of uptake when they are offered free services through the pandemic. I don't think that many had that conversion rate. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I guess I would add to that. I think that the significance of that is, and for your partners, is the industry is changing more rapidly than we thought. We always knew that companies would move to the cloud. I mean, that's the new way in which companies operate in the cloud. Premise was moving away, but what we've seen since COVID started is a rapid increase to move there. So companies that were actually going to be on a prem solution for a longer period of time and said, come back and visit us in about 3 years when our contract's up, have actually accelerated that discussion and decided we got to move to the cloud. And I was reading an analyst report, and it even showed that dramatic change. In 2018, the same analyst put out a report that said, we're in a market where it's going to go from about 18 billion to about 25, 35 billion over the next 4 or 5 years. The same analyst, a year later after this COVID, put out the same report, but because of the growth in cloud contact center, because of the change, because of pandemic, he's now said, we're actually more like a 23 billion going to about 55 billion in cloud contact center. So the rapid increase is beginning to happen, and that has been nothing but good for us, and it's been helpful for our customers and our partners because they've been able to solve problems in a quicker way for these customers that would have stayed on a premise solution a little bit longer.
Great. So lots of opportunity out there.
Yep.
Fantastic. So let's jump to something that's a little more close to home. Let's talk about the agreement.
Yeah.
We had a few friendly conversations about an agreement. I think we wrapped that up in a couple days.
Yeah.
Now these are always always challenges in our industry when we try to put together an agreement that is satisfactory to the supplier, satisfactory to partners, which I really think we accomplished. But I'd like you to highlight a little bit about what we did accomplish.
Yeah. Thanks for asking that, Adam. I think it's pretty significant. And it was more than a couple days. It's been several months going back and forth. But we've learned a lot in that process with you and the other masters that we work with, this agreement together. And I think we've done a great thing with you, as you guys have already signed the agreement. And we're excited about some of the things that are happening. Specifically, I'd like to point out that we've increased the percentages to the partner through you as a master. Instead, anything under 750 seats, we'll pay 25% to you as a master, and that's it used to be 20% on that first contract. So if it's a 3-year contract, we'll pay you 25%, and then at the end of that contract, and we renew it, it goes back to the 20%. So that's a significant uptick for them. The other thing I think that's significant is we've asked you, because we think it's important in our relationship with you, to have you be more certified or more knowledgeable of our product. And you've agreed to that. And we've asked you to have, support people and your sales engineers and your contact center practice lead, Brandon, to be able to know our product better and to actually be certified in the product. We think that, elevates your ability to better help our partners and your partners sell the contact center and bring us in the right way and form us the right way. That's a significant thing. It really is. And you're buying off on that and supporting that is a big thing. It really will help us all kind of elevate our effort together. And the last thing I think I would add is that as we move more products to the cloud, to CX1 cloud platform, and as we take some of the products that we brought over in the NICE acquisition of us and moved it to the cloud, we're putting more products available to be commissionable to your partners. That gives you a bigger suite of products to be commissioned on. And sometimes with our competitors, they're still selling third-party product, and therefore they can't commission as high. But we're commissioning a lot of those products in a bigger full suite to you guys at a higher level. That is only more revenue for your partners. And those are probably 3 of the big significant things I think that will be meaningful to your partners, and we're excited about the new opportunity. Plus some other things that we're going to be doing that we'll be announcing coming up at the first of the year that really lean in and do some things with you as a master agency and your partners to show you that we're really committed to you as a partnership, and we're excited about announcing those too.
Well, I think partners are getting smarter. I think they're looking closer at a contract and what does it mean? Is it 20%, or what does that exactly is getting commissioned? I don't think that was the case a couple of years ago, and I think you guys have been in the forefront of that. In fact, I remember having conversations with you about that when we were here at Telarus, about what really pays and what's the net. What is a partner really getting as a result? And I think partners are getting smarter. I think you help them with a lot of those conversations, but I think they're getting smarter and looking at that, and I think your contract is leading out in addressing that, because the partners do know bottom line what they get. The other statement I'll just make really quickly, and I think you know this, we were a fan of making those commitments. We think it's important to create differentiation in the market, to invest in a partnership that matters. And so the requirement to have engineering, to have specialization that was placed on us as a master agent to be able to qualify for those commissions, we were happy to sign up for. We like that. Yeah,
and we're excited. I don't know, Bill, if you'd add anything to that around the agreement, but I think it's great.
Yeah. But I think you guys have both touched on a lot of the salient points with the agreement. We kind of sat back over really the last year, 6 months to a year, and kind of looked at where we wanted to go with the partnership. We were early on in the master agent channel, and it is my largest channel by far. We wanted to figure out where we could create the most win-wins. I think you really touched on because everything that we're offering is pretty much our IP. It's much easier for us to pay on the full stack. So I think you guys touched, and we wanted a new agreement that was the best in the category.
Yeah, and I think we really came out with something special. So thank you for that.
No, thank you.
Yeah. So next topic I want to cover is the space is heating up. New products entering the contact center space, some niche players coming in. Let's talk a little bit about the differentiation of NICE inContact in this sea of competition.
Yeah, Bill, do you want to take that?
Yeah, I'll start, and you feel free to add on. I think first of all, we've touched on it a little bit already, Adam, and that's just the depth of the platform. Everything from AI to WFO to analytics, just the depth of that platform, and to have all those products very, very tightly integrated into our platform is, I think, a big differentiator. The other area that I think we differentiate in quite well are partnerships. Obviously the master agent channel I just touched on, but it's even a lot of the micro SIs that are up under the master agent channel, which provide tremendous value. Because what we have is we're a vendor, right? And I can offer you an implementation, but I can't offer you a transformation. And we rely on a lot of the micro SIs to help provide that transformation. As you go around the globe and you talk to C-levels and companies from 10 million to 100 billion in revenue, one thing they all have in common is they typically have a digital transformation initiative going. So the more partners that we get involved in that ecosystem, the better off we are. I think the one of the things that is also really, really important is just the size of the overall NICE corporation. Closing in on $2 billion worth of revenue, we have the ability to invest and innovate better than anyone else in the category.
So let me dig on that just a little bit. What you mentioned is the completeness of the platform. You mentioned that the WFO, WFM are in the platform. How contrast that a little bit, because like for you, you guys talk about that every day. How is that different from some of your competitors?
Yeah, so if you look at some of our competitors, and I don't competitor bash at all, but what you're having to have a lot of, for lack of a better term, they would look like they would provide a core platform, and then none of or most of the ancillary products that revolve around. So I look at the core ACD as the platform, right? And then you've got all the other moons that orbit around that planet, which would be the AI, the WFM, QM, all of the rest of the suite. When we have all that as best in class, first of all, tightly integrated, our IP, I think that gives me a really good advantage, or it gives us a really good advantage in the category.
Yeah, absolutely. Seamless integration because you own the whole platform. Absolutely.
And again, I and that's part of the benefit of the NICE acquisition of us, because they've been able to infuse revenue to go out and buy some of these products that we've integrated and have become a core part of our platform, as well as, that was their background, WFN, WFO, and that's where they built their business on. And so I think it's a great story that some of our competitors can't tell right now. Not that they're not competitive, they're very competitive, and we find it to be even more competitive environment than it's ever been before. But I think we have a really complete story, and sometimes it's a complex story, but when all unified, it tells a really clean story to the customer. And when we go in and sell that, and our salespeople go in and really go through that sales process, the customer begins to understand, I've got a full stack story that I have in one place, and that's a nice story to be able to tell.
Absolutely. No pun intended.
Yeah. And the CX1 platform was kind of purpose-built from the ground up, which is, pretty much what we're going to market with now and have been for the last couple of years.
Yeah, the entire platform.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about, you guys are veterans in the industry. You've seen a lot. You've seen a lot of change. And Bill, I'm going to direct this to you. Over 20 years in the industry when it comes to contact center, what are some of the things in the space that have surprised you?
Yeah, so a couple of things that have really surprised me is, number one is what I'll call the speed of adoption. 4 or 5 years ago, we started moving up. It's very interesting because in the cloud market, right? Pick it, whether it's CRM or we're cloud contact center. The recurring revenue models or cloud businesses are the opposite of the way old premise businesses work. In other words, you used to start with a Fortune 500, the shining beacon on the hill were your first customers usually. And then you gradually went down market. What happens in the cloud business, and this is no different than how Salesforce's business evolved, was that you start in the mid-market and you gradually work your way up into the enterprise market. So really, it is just the speed at which the market moved toward the cloud solutions. The other area that really shocked me, and this market still, it depends on the analyst that you listen to, but this market is still 10 to maybe 15% penetrated. So there is a ton of greenfield out there, but we're seeing the market move. SMB has been there for quite a while. Then it moved up market. And then now you're seeing companies that you and I do business with every day, the household labels, moving up into that market. Just the sheer speed that that's moving is been very, very interesting. And then the second point that's really surprised me a little bit is just the rapid consolidation. And the data point I use there is 5 years ago, there was not a Gartner quadrant for cloud contact center. They only did the premise quadrant. Now, if you fast forward only 5 years, there is no such thing as a premise quadrant anymore. Gartner only tracks the cloud quadrant. So you've seen a consolidation and evolution in the market, and we're still on the way up on the way. We have not crested yet.
Well, it's amazing to see this transformation in a short amount of time, then the acceleration with COVID to push this even further and raise some of the numbers that you stated in terms of the opportunity that's still available out there and the growth we're yet to see. Seems like it continues to expand.
Yeah, and I think the surprise for me is how these companies are, that we're servicing out there, they're changing the way they do business. And the market is changing the way they do business. And I guess COVID has increased that. But they're being more sophisticated about how they deal with their customer. And that customer experience is key to their success. And that's not just a phone call anymore. That's not just a walk into the store anymore. There is a rapid change to be able to meet customer needs where they want to be met, how they want to be met, and how they want to be serviced. And because of that, all these products that we provide and others provide have changed the way companies do business forever, and how they can see tremendous revenue streams and tremendous return on investment with just changes in the technology that they're using to be able to change that customer experience. And we've had to adapt and grow with that. And that's to me the big surprise is that things have changed really quickly over the last 10 years that didn't change at all for a long period of time. And then this rapid technology change has forced that.
Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful. Well, that's about all the time we have for today. I want to ask you any last comments before we depart.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, Adam, we really value our partnership with Telarus, and not only your executive leadership, but also your great partners. We feel a strong alignment with you and want to have greater success with you, and believe we're poised to do that, not only by our efforts, but also by your efforts as we lean into each other to be successful, and we're excited about that. So thank you. Bill?
Yeah, no, it's it's a great market. I not only for inContact, but I know the competitors are having looks like to be a good run. COVID, it surprised me how the business has held up. In fact, we've not only kind of maintained, we've a little bit flourished during this, and a lot of that was due to our value prop. It's due to the products. It's due to the people. So we're really excited. We're really excited about the new master agreement. Very, very excited about that. And we want to be good partners. So I thank you so much for having Ray and I on, and we look forward to much more success.
Absolutely, as do we. Thank you so much for your time, but more importantly for your partnership and all of you that you have done for us as a master agent and for all of the agents who sell through us. We appreciate your support.
Thank you, Adam. It's good to be with you.
That's all we got for today. Thank you very much for being here. We'll talk to you soon.